Happy Saturday to you. Welcome back to Major Impact on the DCW Channel 50. It's your host, Terry. I am here with my favorite ladies, Aquania and Ellie. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. We're actually tapping into two topics that we want to bring awareness to all month long, and that is domestic violence and breast cancer awareness, ladies. It's so important. One of these things we have all experienced, and we're going to talk about that with you today.
So let's talk about it, ladies. What contributes to your mental health and safety?
Oh man, I don't, it's so many things, but I definitely have to agree with you. You know, as the saying goes, what consumes you will consume you, right? Or what you consume will consume you. And so I totally think what we look at in the media has so much to do with our mental health and happiness. So if you're constantly watching the news and it's just negativity and sadness, that could affect your mood and how you're feeling. But also when you laugh and when you smile and just hang out with people who bring you joy, that can give you a certain level of not only emotional happiness, but also a certain level of success. So I totally agree with you, who you hang out with and who you're with.
Fun fact, I fasted from TV in 2016, right? When I was working up to some personal goals, and then I just continued it. Why? Because I still, even at myself, have not reached all my goals yet. So it was like, what can I cut out, right? So I fasted from TV, and that means all my spare time is books, podcasts, master classes, all those things, right? Now, and I remember every time I go to the nail salon, what do they have on? The news. And I can remember sitting there and I'm like, murder. And it's so important to protect your peace nugget. Protect your peace and do what you can as you're elevating on this journey. So thank you for that, Aquania.
I totally agree. I think even now, I'm so careful about what I watch on my phone. You know, when we think about social media, we all are on social media, right? All of us ladies, and we're creating great content. But I'm always so careful about the content that I consume. And one thing that was said to me a couple years ago is, you know, you have to be careful of who you follow. You don't have to follow everybody. I had to unfollow certain pages, y'all. And you probably know what pages I'm talking about, because you don't want to just feed into this toxic everything. You know, you have to protect your peace. I'm quick to hit the unfollow, or you know what I even do sometimes, because, you know, some people can see when you unfollow them. I'll just mute their profile. So that way, you know, I'm still following. However, I will never see a post, never see a story. And I think that's so important because, you know, we have to protect our peace. You have to maintain your positivity. We have to be in a good mental state in order to run our businesses. So if I come across a post that just throws off my day, now I'm not making money. And we don't want that.
Another option, if you're like us and you do need to be on social, to get to your audience, you could time yourself on social media, right? Like, we don't have to be on social media hours at a time. We could do 20-minute, 30-minute breaks. And then when the buzzer or the timer goes off, you go do something else. So that way, maybe in that time, you get the nice, happy post that motivates you, but you don't get bogged down into imposter syndrome or jealousy or FOMO or like people faking it, and you just feeling like you're not successful because they're so far along in their journey, because some people are only documenting their good achievements.
Let's talk about some hot, steamy topics real quick, okay? Speaking of social media, because we have to stay aware, okay?
Y'all remember Britney Spears, right? What's y'all's favorite Britney Spears?
That was our era. Like, listen, that was my era. I'm in my 40s. I ain't gonna say the number. I'm in my 40s now. Yeah, I remember Britney Spears.
Britney Spears. Listen, I feel like Britney Spears, whether you were black or white, like, we all loved Britney.
We did.
She had her moment. I feel like my favorite song was the one, you know, I'm a slave for you. She did that in that video.
She did that.
She did.
You have to be able to celebrate excellence, and she 1,000% was on everybody's mind.
She was
Everybody
everywhere.
talking about it. Yes.
She was everywhere. And you know what? I think so. It's interesting. We've seen a real change in the trajectory of her career. And like, she's about to come out with this book. So it's called The Woman in Me. And she's getting Michelle Williams, who's, you know, a 5-time Oscar nominee, to actually do the audiobook. So there was a lot of talk about it, and the release date was a little bit delayed. So fans are like, where is it? You know, everybody's nosy. They want to know what's going on with Britney. but it's set to come out on October 24th. And I quote, "This tell-all book will be available in bookstores and on Amazon, and it is said to be a brave and astonishingly moving story about freedom, fame, motherhood, survival, faith, and more." So what do y'all think? Can we handle just, a Brittany raw and unfiltered? I feel like that's my girl. I was sad to see people thinking that she was crazy. I just think she dealt with a lot because she started her fame journey at like 13 years old, and I can only imagine from now to then. So it's also said that this deal was like $15 million. So she got a check.
I think I agree with you, Ellie. What she struggled with the most is early onset celebrity and going so quickly, and then being brought into that world as a child, and then trying to transition life as an adult and having all of these things against you. That's a lot. I probably would have a mental breakdown.
For sure.
It's too much. And that's where I feel like we forget that celebrities are people, and they have emotions, they have struggles, they have mental health issues, they have life, and they have the camera on them 24/7.
All the time.
We don't give them enough grace. We don't know all the facts, and I don't think we ever will, but at least this book will allow her to give her perspective, and we could have more insight into what she was going through. So I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Because books are like tell all, and I've read them all.
Everybody has a story, right? And that's one thing that we're going to talk about on today's episode. And so there's a price to pay. Connie, as you were talking, the word I kept on hearing huge is sacrifice. People want all the glory, they want the results, but they don't want the sacrifice. They don't want the journey. And it is a trade-off. Lil Bow Wow recently was talking about he wish he didn't get so famous so young. Look at our Michael Jacksons. There's so many people that we can talk about, and there's pros and there are cons. So I'm excited for this story. And guess what? Don't go anywhere, DMV, because when we come back from the break, we're actually going to share a little bit more about our stories. Be transparent with you so that when you guys are building your brands and you're going after building your empire, you know that there's ups and downs on this valley, but I promise you, if you saw that vision, it is for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. It is sad. And one of the number one reasons is because of the lack of capital. Hi, winners. My name is Terry Kauser, and I'm a credit expert. And I specialize in helping entrepreneurs and investors leverage their personal and business credit to get $100,000 and more in funding super fast. I can't wait to share with you on The Connect Show.
And you can currently catch me on BET Plus in the Love Tale series, or in November on Nat Geo and Disney in the Hot Zone Anthrax. You are watching the Connect Network TV.
There's a new show coming to DC, and it's all about finance,
investing, and generational wealth. So join us every Saturday morning
on DCW Channel 50 to start your weekend empowered.
So welcome back to Major Impact on the DCW Channel 50. So if you're just joining us, hello, we are celebrating awareness this month, and we're talking specifically about domestic violence and breast cancer awareness, two super important topics that we want to make sure we bring light to. So let's talk about it. And I actually want to start with Aquania. So love, I know that you had a scare in this space just by doing your own personal self-exam. So please share with us a little bit about your story, about your journey, and about the outcomes and some tips for the people watching out there.
Absolutely. So I just wanted you to know it's super important to do your own breast exams. I actually experienced this scare really, really young and prior to when most people will check. But when I was in high school, high school, I did a self breast exam and I found a lump in my breast, and I went to the school nurse because I went to a boarding high school. So I lived on campus and we had an infirmary. So I went to the nurse and I said, look, I don't think this is normal. Like, what do you think? And she said, you need to go to your doctor and get this checked out. And so with the help of my mom and my physicians, definitely went to a specialist who examined the breast and definitely said it needed to be removed. So we went through, I had a surgery to remove the lump, and they did a full biopsy just to rule out cancer, and said it was benign and that it can happen sometimes. Just women, our hormones and things that may collect and then harden, but they need to be checked out. So I was so glad that I not only knew to do the exam, but then when I identified the lump, I got help immediately. And I have since been no scares, no other issues. And I have a slight scar, but it didn't impact my ability to breastfeed my children or do anything else that I wanted to do as a mother. So please, like, encourage your young girls to do breast exams, and don't just look at the breast, go under the arm and just all in the breast tissue area to make sure that you are, you know, aware of anything that's not normal. And the only way to know what's not normal is to do regular checkup.
I love that. That is so, and thank God, we are so grateful that everything was okay. I'm so glad that you were so proactive, even at a young age. I think that's important. You know, we often think that maybe this is something that doesn't come up until we're, you know, in our 50s or in our 60s, but in reality, it can happen at any time. Okay, so I am just so grateful for you sharing your story. You know, it's so important for us to know the facts and understand how to be prepared. So speaking of facts and myths all around this, let's learn together. All right, we're going to bust some myths around breast cancer, around how to, you know, what causes it.
So true or false, you can always feel a lump if you have breast cancer. Now I said you can always feel a lump if you have breast cancer. True or false?
I'm gonna say false. Yeah,
I'm gonna
because
say
there's
false.
different types of breast cancer, and it's not always detected by lumps. It
That's
could
wow.
be tissue discoloration. Yeah.
No, so that is so good. And you're exact. Look, y'all are right. And so this is where, you know, obviously a lump is a sign of breast cancer, but it's not the only sign. And sometimes you can almost have no symptoms at all. So let's run down some facts for you. The CDC lists 7 other common symptoms of breast cancer. So let's kind of talk about it. So first, a new lump in the breast or underarm or armpit, which thank you, Aquania, for mentioning that the armpit area, like that was super smart. I didn't even think about that. Thickening or swelling of part of the breast, irritation or dimple of the breast skin, redness. I didn't even know this one. Redness, skin flaking. So the CDC lists 7 other symptoms, guys. So let's talk about it. So a new lump in the breast or underarm area. Thank you, Aquania, for talking about that because I didn't even think about it. So thickening or swelling, ladies, of part of the breast, irritation or dimpling of the breast skin. Didn't think about that, ladies. Okay, redness or flakiness in the skin around the nipple area of your breast, pulling of the nipple or pain in the nipple area. So sometimes, ladies, you're like, is it that bra? Make sure you still go get checked. Like, right, that new bra, like make sure you still go get checked, okay? Any kind of discharge of the nipple, ladies, that's other than breast milk. Sometimes it can even be blood. Didn't know that. And any change in the skin or the shape of the breast or pain in any area of the breast. And so let me just say the takeaway because that was a lot. One thing I loved about Aquania's story is she said as soon as something didn't feel right, she went immediately to get professional help. So the takeaway is that if anything doesn't seem right, you'd rather know than not know. So go get some professional help.
Another myth or fact. Okay, I want to know what y'all think. Men don't get breast cancer. True or false?
I know the answer.
False.
No, that's true. Men do.
True?
Yes. They have breasts just like us. I think,
Exactly.
I don't know the modern statistics, but I did ask about this because I wanted to know, is there a bias to promoting breast cancer and awareness to women and not to men? And the doctor said no, but it's just more common in women. And so it has just become a thing where we always associate breast cancer with women, but men get it too. Men get
Yes,
breast cancer.
actually, right? Here's some numbers for y'all. So, according to the American Cancer Society, less than 1% of breast cancer cases occur in men. However, this statistic accounts for approximately 2,620 new cases and over 500 deaths in 2020 alone. So, one thing that they're saying is men are dying more from breast cancer because there's a lack of awareness, because there's this assumption that men can't get it. It's not something they're checking for, you see? And I feel like even though 1% isn't a big number, still 500 people, 2,600 cases, that's enough for us to pay attention.
Wow.
So fellas or ladies, your man, right? Make it too, because listen, it's so important.
Yes, definitely. So what are their symptoms? I guess lumps could be a symptom for men as well.
Yeah.
And then checking in the nipple area. So yeah, men, do
you
your
know what?
checks.
Let them know.
Yes, it is so important to know the facts about things that could impact your health. So anybody listening, we just want you guys to take note, because just like all other cancers, breast cancer is a nuisance, it's nuanced, it's complex, it's a disease that impacts everyone differently.
Mm-hmm.
So while it may seem overwhelming, there are always steps you can take. Adopting a healthier lifestyle and habits is always a great way to start and can be your first step to pass it on and share the facts.
So I really hope y'all have been enjoying the show so far. These are such important topics for us to have just all the time, with your friends, with your family. Like, we have to just normalize these health conversations. So after the break, we're going to dive into some more facts and touching on a really important subject, which is domestic violence. You definitely don't want to miss that, ladies. So we'll be right back and we'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Denise Lawton, and you can currently catch me on BT Plus and the Love Tale series, or in November on Nat Geo and Disney in the Hot Zone Anthrax. You are watching the Connect Network TV.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Sudano, and you can catch me on Cruel Summer on Freeform, Hulu, and Amazon worldwide. You are watching the Connect Network TV.
Hi, I'm Jess DeFeo, and I am a social media coach for women entrepreneurs who know they are on a mission to change the world with their business, but are struggling with how to market themselves authentically to their ideal client on social media. I can help you go from overwhelmed and confused on what to post to creating effective and impactful content that converts your followers into customers. Head to my website to grab your free course, Instagram 101 for Business, and learn the strategies I use to grow my business in just 6 months.
Let me guess, life has got you down, but you are ready to get on the path to creating positive and forward momentum and being empowered. A tragedy gave birth to this powerhouse entrepreneur, and now she leads women everywhere. Meet Coach G. She is trained, certified, and leading the way for women. Text the Connect Show to 832-844-6940 for your free discovery call and join our free subscription today.
Hi, I'm Ananda Lewis. I help women thrive. You can find me on Instagram at I'm Ananda Lewis or on my new app, Elixir, available in all app stores right now. And you're watching the Connect Network TV.
So welcome back to Major Impact, and as always, I hope you guys have been enjoying the show, the hot topics, the stories. We're going to bring it back and talking about domestic violence and breast cancer awareness. So let's talk about it. But we don't want to close out the month without talking about domestic violence awareness. So ladies, it's something that people don't want to talk about. It's a tough topic, and to be honest, sometimes there's embarrassment, sometimes there's shame, sometimes there's guilt. And so, I hope that by us kind of talking a little bit more and sharing about this, it will help other people say, you know what, it's okay. It's not my fault. And what can I do to kind of be safer moving forward? So growing up, if you don't know my story, it was filled with foster care. It was filled with, being a teen mom. And then I also had both of my parents struggled with addiction, right? So both my mother and my father struggled with addiction, which was one reason why I was in and out of foster care. And let me just say that for me, it was a catalyst for me not wanting to raise my children that way. It was a catalyst for me saying, my son will not grow up like me. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be stable. I'm going to have legacy. I'm going to break the barriers. So because I'm a minority, I'm a female, I was a teen mom, I was in foster care, all the odds were stacked against me, but God, right? Because we're on this platform sharing because we're business owners, we're leaders, and we're helping people across the nation. So the takeaway for everybody is do not be a victim of your circumstance, right? Mm-hmm. Those afflictions that all of us are sharing today on this platform are the thing that means that you need to break the cycle. You need to work harder. You need to lead by example, and it's going to be your motivation to make sure that's the story for you and or the generations coming behind you. So you're not a victim of your circumstance. That's your reason to go harder.
Perry, thank you for sharing your story as well, because I think both of you will help men and women watching this show. So Ellie, can we start with you? Do you mind sharing, when did you know that you were in an abusive relationship?
Jesus.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So my first marriage, I got married when I was 19, almost 20 the first time. And, one thing that I reflect on is, an abusive marriage doesn't start as abusive, right? You think it's just love and you're like, oh my God, this is the one. And, then slowly but surely little signs start to come up. So, there was a few instances at the beginning where, we would play fight, right? It's like, okay. Then there became times where, he would just hit me. And I think that you don't want to accept that this is domestic violence. We tend to think of it as, oh, maybe we're just having relationship problems. Maybe I should just not do something to make him mad. But, I think after my first son was born, when I was 21, that's when it really became apparent to me that this was not a good environment. And it was challenging because it took me 7 years to leave. I'm sure that's something we'll talk more about in the show, but one thing that people don't always understand about domestic violence is that even when we know that it's happening, we know it's not right for someone to be putting their hands on us. But when you have children, this person is making you believe that it's not their fault they're hitting you, that it's your fault they're hitting you. So you begin thinking, well, maybe if I just don't do that, this won't happen. They're a good person. I'm just doing something to make them upset. So a big pattern in domestic violence is that even from the first moment we see it, we stay. We see women who are in marriages for a long time, and some, don't make it out. So it's just so important to really be able to recognize the pattern and help empower women to say, you know what, it's not a me problem, it's a him problem. And I got to get out of here, which I eventually did. God always gives you the signs. But, God can't just come down from the sky and pull me by my head and say, girl, leave. So it was just like he had to wait for me to finally see it for myself. And I remember one day I woke up really early in the morning and I just started praying. And I was like, God, at this time I had 4 children. So I had my son, my daughter, and I had just given birth to the twins. They were about 2 months old. And I just got up early in the morning and I said, God, I need your guidance because I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to be. I don't know if this is where me and my children will flourish. And I said, if I need to go, please send me a sign, just one more sign. And I kid y'all not, that day, later on in the day, we got into a fight. I wanted to breastfeed the twins and he wanted to use my pregnancy pillow because, it's large and comfortable. And I was like, well, sorry, you can't take a nap with that because I need to breastfeed the twins. And, long story short, he decided that that was a reason for him to put his hands on me. I just lost it. It's always a moment where the straw breaks the camel's back. And that was definitely the moment, and I thought about my children. I thought about my newborn twins. And I'm like, I just brought 2 humans into this world at the same time. There is no way I'm going to accept you doing this to me any longer. And that was the last day we were ever in the same household. So, I left with the support of my family. So that was really my escape, and it was so challenging, even though I knew that I was so tired and it was so wrong. It's hard because now I have 4 kids. It's not like I'm leaving as a single person or with just one. But again, once you get to this moment where you just are like, no one can live this way. And I think for me, a wake-up call as well was my children, because I had to think about my daughter at the time she was 2. If she's old enough to see this or hear this or understand what's going on, this is creating a pattern, right? Whether I know it or not, this is going to contribute to some sort of trauma in her, where when she's 18, 19, 20, 23, 25, maybe some man is going to think it's okay to put his hands on her. And because she saw her mom stay for so long, maybe she's going to accept it too. And I think that terrified me more than anything. It really wasn't me, right? I was upset, but I thought about my daughter and I thought about my kids seeing it, being in the house when it's happening. And I just said, you know what? They deserve better. Like, they deserve to not see this as normal. And I think for women who struggle with domestic violence or who know someone that struggles, really encourage the woman to leave for the child. Sometimes she's not going to have the strength to leave for herself, but you can encourage her to leave for the sake of her children, because that's something mothers all relate to,
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's such a powerful story. And it changes the lives of our children. And you are now in a wonderful marriage, but we'll get to that with your king. But Terry, jump in here, because, your story is powerful too. And it triumphs and shows that you can't be stopped, right? You have accomplished so much despite your circumstances. So what would you like to share? What helped you push through, even when society said you are not supposed to make?
One thing that I can really, and I'm so glad you said it can relate to with your story and mine, is that I was going through being, toxic and just being angry and mad and being an out of control teen by me being, in foster care and moving around and just no adult supervision. We just want to be honest, right? Mm-hmm. But when I had my son, I became a mom at 17. That's when it was like a switch. It was like, oh, he will not grow up like me. Like I say, and it's the truth. It's like he gave me a reason to live. I was on the road of self-destruction. So, lady, that what you said was so key. Like, sometimes we will take the abuse, we question, we have doubt, we have the what ifs, like having children and moving, that all these things come into play. But when you're like, hold on, I don't want my son to see this. I don't want my daughter to see this. For me, it was like, I don't want my son to grow up like this. Your level of exposure will change their life. And so that's so critical. If you don't have the strength yourself, think about everybody who's impacted by your decision to stay. And I think that sometimes that will be that added boost. And I love that you had support. If you have support, reach out to people, because sometimes they don't know. So it was a blessing that you had support that help you on that journey. This has been a jam-packed episode. We hope that you learned something. We hope that you are inspired. We hope that you got some actionable items, some next steps to help you on wherever your journey is. And so that's all we have time for. So we will see you next time on Major Impact on the DCW every Saturday morning. And if you want to go binge watch past episodes, we recommend it. You can go to Connect online and also follow us on Instagram to get the latest, fastest updates, clips, and next steps. And so we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.